Welcome. This is the astrology for our week ahead. This is going to take you all the way from Monday, the 10th of March, through to the 16th. And we have an eclipse coming up on Friday, the 15th, depends on your time zone. Whoa, breakthroughs. We have the sun conjoining Saturn for a reset that lasts an entire year, plus a little bit of news from your past. You might hear from an old lover or an old friend. Something's percolating with a Mercury Venus conjunction as Venus is retrograding, taking the past into your present. Let's break this very busy week down for each sign as we go through the week ahead astrology. Welcome to my channel if you're new. I am Lori Lothian. I'm using the Western Tropical Zodiac, whole sign houses, and fixed stars and minor asteroids dabbled in there as necessary. I'm really excited by this week because not only do we have this breakthrough energy on the eclipse as the week comes to a close, but we also have a synodic cycle between the planet Saturn and the planet the sun, or the luminary, the sun, which we really have to go back to the 90s and before the 60s to compare to. So a lot of you know I love to talk about cycles and synodic cycles and give you graphs to screenshot, and today is no exception. Now, when you're listening for your sign today, and I hear this question all of the time. Should I listen for my sun, my moon, my rising? What am I doing here? Well, you can try all three. But in Indian astrology, Vedic, they'll say, listen to your moon. It represents how you feel about your life, how you're reacting and responding to reality from the emotional mind-body complex. But it's also your mom and home and matters to do with your home. Like eclipses to your moon can move your home, right? It's simple as that. And then the sun is your eternal self, your true nature, the divine you. But it also represents your father. It also represents matters to do with purpose and career because you're on the planet for a reason. What are you doing here? And your ascendant is the avatar game player. If you do a simulation or an old-timey video game, you have to pick a character. So you picked a character. I'm an Aquarius rising. I'm very geeky. I'm very scientific. I'm very original, inventive. I love humanity. I'm not always fond of humans, So your character is your rising sign. And often when you listen for the rising sign, you'll find a lot of your circumstances of life are reflected very accurately in the astrology. Sometimes people say, oh, well, this didn't make any sense for me. Are you listening for your sun or your rising? Now, if you don't know how to cast your rising sign in whole sign houses, an essential ingredient, check below in my description box for my free tutorial. And then you can also learn how to find your rising sign in that same 7-minute video. And it's free. Your sun sign can be very accurate for you if you've moved beyond the character. If you're now playing your life from the soul alignment energy, not most people aren't. But if you are, it's often we look like and feel like our sun quite a bit in the first 6 or 7 years of life, like the Jesuits say, give me a kid for the first 7 years and I'll make you a man or whatever. But I'm just sort of saying, I find I get a lot of accuracy from my sun, which is called the solar chart, or my rising. All right, so let's get going and do the week ahead. Now, I'm going to try to keep this video kind of short, maybe make it approximately 75 minutes long. I'm recording this a little behind schedule, Sunday, March the 9th. I'm not going to cover a lot of world events in this particular video. I'll have another video come out Thursday, and I may dive a little more into this eclipse as it pertains to the world, especially because the eclipse this week is visible in North America, but not, for instance, in Europe. So it will entertain a lot of North American news stories in the wake of the eclipse, which, by the way, can mean in the 2 to 3 months afterwards, as well as we build for that eclipse in the month before. Now, I'm going to show you the sky, but before I do that, and we're going to turn the wheel so you can see what's going on. Some of you know that I do a lot of things. I'm in the middle of teaching my Venus retrograde class. I'll be doing Sky Reader again, I think this summer, just to do a summer school version of Be Your Own Astrologer, Time Your Best Life. And the only thing I want to draw your attention to now is that I'm really excited by 2 or 3 things I'm doing in my life. One is I'm writing weekly and even more than that on Substack about Pluto. It's called the Pluto Chronicles, and I do a weekly audio forecast that's completely separate from anything here on YouTube, a little bit more focused on Pluto. Check that out below. And the other thing you might check out about me in my description box, I don't know if you know that I have a Cosmic Moonshine weekly newsletter. Just recently, I gave away readings and prizes and courses for free in a big celebration because I got to 100,000 subscribers. I reserve the right to give contests and gifts to my Cosmic Moonshine newsletter folk. And the last thing I want you, so join the newsletter. It's in the description box below. 5 or 6 times a year, I run a contest just for them. And number 3, you might want to know, you might not care actually, but I have a Patreon community. And now that I'm I'm just so busy. I don't have time for readings from the general public, in the sense that when my calendar opens now in June, which I opened it in January, I tell my Patreon community, and then my Patreon community gets first chances to book with me, and it books out within 2 or 3 hours. All my slots book out. And then I'll be doing that again in June. I'll be doing that again maybe in September, opening the calendar up for sessions. So if you really do want to see me, you need to join my Patreon community. That's the only way I can do that. It's a perk for being a member of Patreon. The cheapest tier is $5 a month. All right, so let's get going and talk about astrology. Let's get started. First of all, I would like to show you a chart that you can screenshot. I want you to get a vibe of the sky and what this synodic cycle is about, because the planet Saturn and Sun come together this week. I'll be sharing the details when I rotate the chart for you. And when Saturn and Sun come together, when any planet joins with the Sun, Jupiter, Venus, Mercury, doesn't matter, Saturn, of course, we have, and of course, the moon, which is a new moon. So we have a new moon energy. We have a new beginning. We have a reset button. We have a fresh start. And Sun, Saturn will come together in the sign of Pisces on a cycle that means Saturn must be in Pisces. And that Saturn goes into Pisces every 29.5 years and stays there for 2.5 to 3 years. So you can see historically, Saturn in the sign of Pisces in 1965 and 66 led to a conjunction with the Sun on the yearly in February of 1965 and March of 1966. So when we look ahead to the further along, in February of 94 and March of 1995 and March of 1996, Sun and Saturn came together in a conjunction in Pisces, resetting the Pisces part of the sky for a single year. The reset button of Sun and Saturn is a 1-year new story in your chart. And then if you look back here to the right, you'll see that it didn't happen in 2023. It doesn't always happen 3 times. It tends to go on a 2-3-2-3 cycle. So if you look at 1965 and you go back, 29 years, it would be 35, 36 kind of thing, 34, 35, 36. There probably were 3 conjunctions. Now, if you look over at February 5th of 2024, your Saturn conjunction to the Sun happened for all of us at 9 degrees of Pisces. So anybody here listening who is a Pisces Sun, Moon, or Rising near 9 degrees, of course, that was an incredibly important time for you. And the year that followed as you reset Sun, career, Moon, home, or emotions, and Ascendant, anything about your life. And March 12th of 2025, drum roll, please. It's a Wednesday in my time zone, and it's going to be time zone dependent. But around that time, the Sun and Saturn come together at 22 degrees of the sign of Pisces. And you might all be aware that there's an eclipse coming up as well at 23 degrees of the sign of Virgo across the way on Friday. And it's going to mean that the Sun and Saturn were together perfectly on Wednesday, and they began to separate. The Sun began to move past Saturn, but the Sun is still in a technical conjunction to Saturn, with the Moon across the way becoming totally eclipsed. And this means that the Moon was reflecting the light of Sun, Saturn, and then the Moon was eclipsed. Because the Moon is a part of a bigger story, and because it's a part of the eclipse, please look to my eclipse video where I talk about the Uranian influence on this eclipse. And on Thursday, I'm going to put an eclipse video update out where I really want to drill into the idea of something solid and something structural, Saturn, that wants to break through Uranus, right? Because Uranus is actually in a trine from the sign of Virgo to this eclipse. And therefore, there is something that really beautifully wants to break down and break through in our lives. And I'm going to focus on that one specific element in a Thursday eclipse update video, but I've already covered some of the elements already, including world astrology for the eclipse. Please go back and watch that video. I'll put it in the link in the description box. I'll put it in underneath the video, but I'll also put it pinned to the comments so you remember that there is a video that covers Friday's eclipse. And rather than focus on that again, I'd rather focus on the solar conjunction to Saturn, because this resets your life in your Pisces sky. It's about the Pisces sky. That's what's resetting. So you got 12 pie slices of your chart, which are called houses. Each of those is like house of children, house of lovers, house of relationship, house of career, house of work, house of health, house of food, house of money, the things that go with the house. And so this is the reset area of the chart. And that's what we're focusing on for the week ahead. We're going to call it the video something like your structure reset button in Pisces week ahead astrology. But recognize that what I'm about to give you doesn't pertain to the week ahead only. It's about the next year of your life. It's about what you're resetting in the Pisces sky for 1 year after this. And it is involved in an eclipse across the way. So it gives it more potency and power and oomph. So it's not a one-off deal. So this is a big deal video to listen to, because you won't have another reset here until 2054. Did you hear me, guys? 2054. You reset the button. Again, that's a long time from now. So if you really want to get this button reset going for you, this is the time to really harness the last reset button for 29 years in the sign of Pisces. Now, let me go ahead and share the wheel of the sky for you. The wheel of the sky. Ooh, this is what our sky looks like in a two-dimensional structure. Okay. Now, you'll notice that this sky is saying something along the lines of this. And as we head into this week ahead, I'm looking at March the 12th. I'm going to pin it to Aries so that when I rotate the dial, give me a sec, it doesn't move around. That's a sigh. Yes, it was. You got to know it was a sigh. Thank you, by the way, if you're one of my regulars. You guys got me here to 100,000 subscribers. And if you're on my Cosmic Moonshine newsletter, thank you as well. You guys cheered me on for the last 6 years. I started that newsletter in 2019, probably, or 2020. But thank you for all of you guys. It's so exciting. I got my plaque in the mail, but I'm wanting to nail it to this thing behind me. And I need to figure out if I need a level to show it to you. So hang in there. I'll show you the plaque. Now, here we go. This is the Aries sun, moon, and rising, like horizon line, but we're not starting. I just want to show you the sky. I want you to see what's going on. And I want you to imagine that this is, of course, this is the sky. This is what's going on in the heavens. And I want you to get a lay of the land, so to speak. Okay, so right here, we have Saturn and the sun co-joined on Wednesday. And you'll also notice that Venus and Mercury are also beside each other in the sky. And this is because on Tuesday, the day before, and I teased you in the intro, Venus, the goddess of love and beauty and money and friendship and peace and harmony, is joining Mercury, the god of news. And so maybe on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday for the world, there will be major announcements regarding war and negotiation and peace. That is what those things look like. It would be good or bad. Hard to say. It is trining the moon in Leo, which could be a positive direction, but it is also squaring Mars broadly in Cancer in its fall. So complicated news around war and peace. We know where the wars are, don't we? So those are in the news cycle Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But in your own life, everyone listen, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Venus is the past. So friends from the past, love from the past, money from the past. And Mercury still direct until the 15th. News from the past. Now, Mercury is going to go retrograde. That'll be covered on my Thursday video. And we'll be going into the Mercury retrograde story. But at this point, we can't do everything in a week ahead. We're going to cover the idea of this conjunction to the sun. But look at this, guys. Look, clearly, what's baking up on Tuesday, really? Maybe around 1:30 in the afternoon Pacific, give or take a day on either side. So get ready to get some news going. I'll cover it briefly for your sign. Then we move into Wednesday. And then on Wednesday, you'll see that this conjunction is exact at 22 degrees of Pisces. And this is a reset button that will indicate what the next year of divine mission instructions from the sun, who represents solar divine intelligence. It is like going to headquarters and getting a mission, and Saturn's going to execute it for you in your Pisces sky. Divine mission instructions for 1 year and what you're going to do with that. I bet you're thinking, what's a Sabian symbol? What's that iconic Sabian symbol channeled by Elsie Wheeler for the 22nd degree of Pisces, which rounds up to the 23rd degree of Pisces? I'm about to let you know right now. So before I do that, I need to grab the book on my shelf. I'll be right back. I'll bring you the plaque too, just for fun. But honestly, I want to hang it up. I want to hang it up. All right. Sabian symbols and the YouTube plaque. Ta-da! Ta-da! Passing 100,000 subscribers. Yay. And the Sabian symbols by Elsie Willer, 23 degrees of Pisces. We always round up by a degree. I'm about to read that to you. And we'll talk about what it might mean, because it's not just for you, right? These Sabian symbols are also very connected to world events. So 22 Pisces rounds up to 23 Pisces. Spiritist phenomena. Keyword sensitivity. Now, basically, she's going to say that it has to do with the materialization of a higher reality, the ability of a man to tap into potential that he can manifest according to his will and desire. Oh, I love this. This is going to be about manifestation. Now, this stuff is accurate. I think, oh, this is just bullshit. No, 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 no. My moon is on the crystal ball gazer in the house of divining and scrying, the house of the goddess. I have a psychic reader. I just talk to dead people in my 30s, etc. No, this stuff works. And so, yeah. So the image of a spiritist emphasizes the power of the mind and the importance of focus and mental discipline, learning how to break through the conditioning effects of experience and develop a greater sensitivity to the possibilities of what can be achieved. The key is not allowing the self to become distracted by the allure of every passing whim, fancy, or trivial problem of everyday living. Psychic phenomena, activities of the invisible world, cosmic comedies, practical jokes and gremlins. I wonder how she gets that one. At its highest symbol, this represents psychic sensitivity, a highly refined attunement to highest potential of all things, and a powerful depth of focus that leads to significant achievements. And finally, she gives you all kinds of keywords like psychokinesis, psychic phenomena, telekinesis, and unexplained happenings. Okay, so it's a very mystical Sabian symbol, because Saturn's a realist, right? But he keeps getting dissolved in the Pisces waters. But normally he's like, let's get real, let's be practical. I'm gonna, let's get real. And yet he's immersed in the waters, the fantastical waters of Pisces, where Neptune is also sitting. And, it's a mystical and transcendent place. Anyway, he keeps, as I said, getting dissolved. He's like trying to build sandcastles, and the waves are washing them away. But I love the psychic sensitivity and the attunement to our able to manifest and materialize what we wish for or what we visualize. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the chart, but I wanted to read the Sabian to you as well. For the world, I'm going to say this could be like under the ocean, and the next year we discover something mystical, magical, or weird. A mermaid, man from Atlantis, a lost city, a downed UFO, or an alien civilization. I do know that we're going to find things under the water. Now, I did talk about earthquakes in my video for the eclipse and also the Leo full moon. Those are still, unfortunately, eclipses and tsunamis are still in the energy field and will not leave until mid-April. And so that is also the backdrop against which this eclipse story is happening. But I want to talk about Saturn. I want to talk about the sun, because that's going to be for you for the next year, not one day, but the next year. All right, so share the chart again. Okay, so as we move past the conjunction, we're going to go forward into the future, and you can see the moon is moving away over here to the sun. I should put the nodes in there because that will show you that it's an eclipse. Well, we need to be at least 15 to 18 degrees away from the nodes of fate for an eclipse to happen. There's the south node of fate, which is about what we need to let go of. And again, I'm not doing a whole eclipse video all over again. And we're going to move ourselves forward so you can see what an eclipse looks like if you're not familiar with it on a chart, right? So you can see that when that moon is at 23 degrees of Virgo and the sun is at 23 degrees of Pisces, there will be an eclipse. And it's a little bit closer to around this time of day, around 11:30 or noon on Thursday, the March 13th. And it could be the 12th, depending on your time zone. So it's all time zone dependent, but we see that eclipse right there. So energetically speaking, this eclipse on the south node is going to be highly activating the solar conjunction. Why? Because it's still in play. Saturn and the sun are still beside each other in a formidable conjunction. One way you can say is that Sun comes into Saturn, gives Saturn headquarters, divine mission instructions. You got to do this. This is your job. This is what I need you to do, says, Sun to Saturn. So Saturn has been disposed of now. Sun has moved on, and Saturn has been given a mission. So the idea is, what is Saturn's mission? We don't know. It's going to take us a year to see the mission unfold in your life and my life. Watch the next year. All right. We'll see what is this thing we can sensitively, psychically, magically dream into being, or what are you going to discover under the sea that's quite mystical as another option. And with this moon so close to the south node, that is a total solar eclipse, right? This is not a slight fuzzy moon. This is a very blood red, very eclipsed moon visible in North America. Well, as I said, it is flowing to Uranus, and that's a big breakthrough energy. And I covered that breakdown, breakthrough, break free, a lot of it. I covered that in my video that's already out. I might do a touch point though, updated eclipse video. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, our week ahead, we're going to cover the following themes for your sign. 1, what kind of news might come through your sky Monday through Wednesday with the Venus conjunction to Mercury in Aries, Venus retrograde. Number 2, what do you think it's all about, everybody, that you're going to have this new reset button? It's the big deal story of the week ahead, and it's going to be very important to understand what is happening, and it's starting on Wednesday. And number 3, I will address just the vibrational idea of an eclipse with Mercury retrograde at the end of the week, but there will be a separate Mercury retrograde video. Mercury's retrograding from the 15th of March through until the 7th of April. So let's go ahead and do each separate sign. We're going to start with the Aries, and I'm going to unpin the wheel so that I can rotate the sky for you guys. Just give me a minute. We're going back. We're going back to Wednesday. All right. So, and edit the chart and get it back to whole signs. I'm on 0 Aries, pinning the Aries to the eastern horizon. When you come into my premiere, and you always ask, what sign are we on? Just look to the 9 o'clock position like a clock. The 9 o'clock position is the sign that we're on, because that's the eastern horizon. And we're pretending it's a rising sign when we're talking about your sun. This is a Libra, for example. See that? That's this 9 o'clock position. And now you know what to look at. Now we're going to get Aries back in gear. All righty. Welcome, Aries, sun, moon, and rising sign. So here we have it. It's a solar reset. Sun is giving some divine instructions to structure, form, and reality in your 12th house. You have to notice that with Neptune there, it can be like make one's dreams real and make one's fantasies and visions true. So that's the good news, with the North Node of Fate indicating destined changes. What makes this reset button particularly powerful is the fact that the North Node is here, which it was not when we had this conjunction last spring. And remember, I showed you that chart for the conjunction of Saturn together. Hang on. I'll give you the exact date again. I showed you the chart already of the Saturn conjunction, and the exact date it happened last in spring was February 5th. Okay. And you have to go back to 1994 to 1996, 1994 to 1996 for the last wave of these solar resets. So in your life, 1994 to 96, sure. And of course, last February of 2024, there was a solar reset, but not with the North Node of Fate. This is what makes it very powerful, very destined, and very significant. In this sense, you probably can't really quite compare it. But if you want, I'm an Aries, sun, moon, and rising. I'll try to explain how this worked for me, if you even care. But This is a kind of a reset button that can help you reset your relationship to God, to spiritual attainment, to your spiritual path, to spiritual liberation, but also to how you create income from marketplaces that are distant in foreign lands and shores. And in my case, what I did was I incorporated my personal revenue into a business revenue structure, and that could very well be a very positive way to look at it. In the meantime, your 12th house is your addictions and self-undoings, your bad patterns and habits. Solar reset button with Saturn that's destined can really shift your relationship to habits and tendencies of addiction and escapism, especially since Neptune, who rules that, has been in this part of your chart since 2011, bringing your attention to the ways that you undo yourself. She's come undone. And how can you stop undoing yourself? And Saturn, the taskmaster, is all over it. Your alone time is Saturn in the 12th, contemplation, solitude, and aloneness, essential for your soul right now through till 2026 February. So looking at that energy, one of the things I'd say to you is this is the last solitude year ahead with a new divine mission instruction that's very different than 1994, 5, and 6, and also very different from what happened last February. 1994, 5, 6, I set up my new business. That was my psychic readings business, FYI, but I was also spending a huge amount of time alone because I moved out of the city of Washington, D.C. into Annapolis, and I had no friends. Solitude and aloneness are benefiting you now. Saturn is wisdom and sagacity. Add Saturn's wisdom and sagacity to the idea of a solar reset that's destined. Really pay attention to what kind of new solid foundation you wish to, of structure, you wish to begin to implement. You may, just some of you with Mars in your 4th house, be indicating a massive change of home to another part of your country, another far reach of your state, or even to another country. You might move out of the country as well. So a lot of you may be seeing a solar reset that's also inviting a move to a distant shore in the 12 months that follows this reset button. And finally, what about Tuesday? You've got to have this energy going on, right? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. News, information from a past romantic partner is most likely, or a friend, because Venus is retrograde in the house of your identity. It's somebody that's very significant to you, and Mercury is the news, but you could be also the one reaching out to that person with that phone call, with that text, or that email, Monday through Wednesday, or vice versa. And with Venus retrograde, of course, it does mean it's things from your past that you'll be hearing about Monday through Wednesday. So it's not about right now, it's about then. It's way back when. And possibly with the Venus rulership of your 7th house of marriage, you could hear from a business partner or a significant client from your past, but certainly a long-term love partner from your past, news about them, you reaching out to them, or they reach out to you Monday through to Wednesday. And with that eclipse happening, of course, in your 6th house of work, health, pets, and rentals, some of that move might be a rental property. I want you to go ahead, please, and listen to the long deep dive video into your sign that's already out. Please check the description box. The eclipse that's occurring Thursday, Friday kind of vibe is a huge turning point energy in the way you handle health, the way you handle pets, rentals, and work situations. So go ahead and rental properties, and go ahead and listen to that other video. It will really help you suss out what might be going on in this part of your sky. Oh, it did not unpin. Really? Oh, this software, guys. Yeah, I know. Astro Gold for Mac. It's the thing. I use what I use. I unpinned it and it didn't hold because the software, when I go to change to whole sign houses, it never holds. All my students know this. It's the laughing stock story. I have to change to random house systems and then go back to whole sign houses. I think it's the only one, like the house system whole sign doesn't let me toggle properly. All right, here we go. Oh, that was frustrating. All right. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising. Now, Monday through to Wednesday, what kind of news from the past to do with Venus, information or ideas? Well, Mercury's a dream god in a dream house. Please pay attention to your meditations, shamanic journey insights, or dreams Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. On the other hand, Venus retrograde in your 12th house with Mercury there, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, news or information or ideas connected to Now, this is where it gets a little bit tricky because it's kind of a hidden house, perhaps connected to work and workmates and colleagues, because Venus is looking across the way at her domicile of Libra. Information and news and ideas that you're concocting from the past and your privacy of your alone time. And I do want to note that Venus being retrograde, there could be something to do with an addiction from the past resurfacing, pleasure goddess with the chironic wound in the house of addictions, and finding yourself in the throes, like, falling off the wagon or starting to smoke again. So be careful. But with Venus and Mercury doing a lot of stuff in here over the next couple of months, don't worry. It's really to test your strength around these matters. Debts that you owe and must service are the sixth house, which Venus owns. Debts from the past returning to you, or issues to do with debt and indebtedness and contracts and negotiations behind the scenes. Backroom deals and negotiations to unravel debts and indebtedness may be emerging, but it's not a new debt. It's a debt you've had before, and now you're really working it in some kind of backroom deal and negotiation, contractual agreements and conversations, etc. All right, so when we get to the extra best part of the sky, what about that Saturn conjunct the sun, which happened in 94, 95, 96, each spring, 1994 to 1996. And here we are again with a touch point last February of 24. But this is the North Node amplifying it, unlike any of the other ones I've just described to you. And so there's a very big destined solar reset button as Saturn gets divine mission instructions from headquarters on your behalf on Wednesday, and unfolds over the course of a year, a massive change in your friendship circles, groups of belonging, and social networks, the massive change in your long-range goals, dreams, and aspirations for your life, and maybe a massive change as well in the way you create earnings and gains from your career. Not too shabby to have Pluto powering up your 10th house as well. And the gains of the 10th house, which is the 11th, are now having a divine solar reset mission to bring some structure and form to those gains in a way that's more of a mystically dream come true. Don't forget, the Sabian symbol invites us to manifest what we desire and to attune to our psychic sensitivities. So this is very vision boardy for a lot of you Taurians, right? Get that vision board on the go. It's possible with this kind of reset button here that you may exit a long-term friendship that has to do, because Saturn is a long-term friend, that has to do with a kind of reliance on that person to be your backup unit, your ally, your benefactor. And Saturn is a bit of a grim reaper. So there may be a certain person in your life that you realize it's been a while, it's been a trip, it's time to let it go. And it may also be indicating that it could take up to a year for that friendship to dissolve or the new form of that friendship to emerge. Maybe it's just some boundaries and distance and some walls between you and that person that are necessary. A sibling, one older than you, belongs to the 11th house, and you may be having a solar reset in the way you relate to that sibling that's destined and fated. And there may be something good emerging because it is a sextile, after all, to the Taurus part of the sky. When you think rainbows and unicorns and pots of gold and treasures and rainbows, I say rainbows, and dreams come true and fairy godfathers, that's kind of the vibe of the house of good spirit, your 11th house. And to have this energy here of such a profound destined North Node reset button, it really invites you to kind of dream big, go big or go home. It's time for you to, over the next year, aspire to long game, long tail, long range goals and dreams, not only that last a year, but they could be resetting the way you outline your whole life story over the next 29 years. I know, no small deal there, right? And a lot of that will inform greater financial abundance because Jupiter witnesses this from the house of your earnings. So it's really a whole new start and a fresh divine direction with destiny in the mix. The eclipse is coming through at the end of the week, Thursday or so. Thursday, Friday eclipse. This eclipse, it's most places it's Thursday. This eclipse is going to open up a kind of this is your 5th house, a kind of divine letting go when it comes to attachments to the 5th house. Are you too attached to your children? at your own expense? Are you too attached to romantic and love partnership stuff at your own expense? Are you too attached to your creative projects and muse inspired side hobbies and at the expense of your greater career gains? If you're single, however, over the next year, that eclipse could bring in, especially since it's lunar, even over the 6 months that follow the eclipse on Thursday, a soulmate, a destined love story, a divine partnership. So there is something else about that is quite lovely for the singletons, but for those of you who are with somebody, it kind of takes away some of the sexy fun. You're kind of releasing, surrendering, and letting go of attachments to romantic love for fulfillment, for example. And you can also let go of attachments to things that are pleasurable, that are no longer serving you as well. Gemini, sun, moon, and rising sign. So, wow, it's a narrative. This is a big deal. You're going to want to really think about your career changing in the next year. And I'm a progressed Gemini sun, so I'm vibing. You do not need progress sun and ascendant and all of that secondary to your natal chart, but still important. So it has a little bit of a vibe here that I just had a really bad thought that my microphone's not actually working. I hope it is. Well, we're stuck with what we get. So what we got at the top of the sky is Saturn's solar conjunction. And it's a reset button, just like it was last February of 2024, just like it was in 1994, 95, 96, and then back in the 60s, right? So you're looking at a beginning of a new beginning in your career and reputation space. If you're retired, what do people visibly see you do? If you're a student, your career is to be a student. And it's your visible actions in the world expressed at the high noon at the OK Corral that often correspond with wanting to achieve and accomplish and succeed. Now, energetically speaking, this is not like any of the others because the North Node is here. Like, for example, I incorporated, instead of being a personal person making money, I'm a business making money. That's the only thing that happened to me last year for my progressed Gemini sun. This is different. This is the node of fate, the node of destiny, asking you to consider what the universe as your soul has described it to be, like I will go into this life and I will have destined changes in my career connected to Saturn solar resets. Saturn is already long game, long tail. Saturn is already the arc of time, Chronos, chronology. Saturn is about the elder as well and what ages and ages well, usually. So you're really looking at the idea that you're looking for a long game reset of your career path, not just a short-term fix. And so something wants to change in your life. You could retire from this if you're old enough. You could be making a very significant change, though, that is destined, that with that Sabian symbol about use your imagination, use your psychic sensitivities to like manifest what you dream, etc. We talked about the Sabian symbol at the beginning. There is a quality of that here as well. And of course, there's a tendency to consider breakthroughs as well with, your Uranus in your 12th house, that you could have a career shift that's also very breakthrough, break free energetically, and allows for some kind of significant energy of maybe involving your career in another country, foreign distance shores and lands, or your career being very connected to something like to do with past lives. Like, I'm going to break free and like be a part of this, new career direction because this is my, who I've been in another time and place, something like that. I almost forgot to start with, of course, I keep forgetting that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Venus is chatting with Mercury, and the two of them are like, hey, got to have a convo going here about past love, past friendships, especially this house. If you've been out of touch with an elder sibling, they may be back in touch. Otherwise, friendships from your past, social groups from your past, those are returning, or even matters to do with professional acquaintances and networks are returning from your past. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Mercury, information, news, conversations, etc. You may be on a podcast, even it's been planned before, because Mercury is like the kind of a microphone holder in the 11th house of broad social media engagements. And so there just might be something going on there, but it could definitely look like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, hearing from a friend from your past coming out of the blue as well. Now, of course, it's hard to separate the solar reset of Saturn in your 10th house from the eclipses. But of course, on Thursday, the moon will also be engaged in that blood moon eclipse in the 4th house with the south node for a lot of you Gemini folks. Sun, moon, and especially rising and Gemini moon, there's probably going to be a change of home over the next year, because Saturn says, as he witnesses that eclipse, if you're going to change your home, it's connected to your career ambitions. If you're going to change your home, and some of you will, then it's going to be connected to a longer game change. It's not just a flying flash in the pan. I'm going to rent this place for 6 months. You're looking at masterminding a more significant relocation, if possible, and you may find that the eclipse wants to move you, because South Node blood moon eclipse with a moon just categorically representing home will indicate a change of home. I'd like to give me as an example. I hope you don't mind, but I had an eclipse to my IC, which is basically the home, the root of the chart, in November of 1920. And by March of 2021, I was moving. I knew why I was moving. I didn't plan to move. So South Node eclipses will move you, whether you plan to move or not, is what I'm saying. And that's what I've got for you, Geminis. Don't forget, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, especially if you're watching in the live premiere. What a week ahead, Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. We're not even going to get to the Mercury retrograde. We're doing a whole video on that. And I introduced it. We're not covering everything. Okay, Cancer. First of all, news from the past to do with what? Venus, love and money, but also in the work house, the career house. So what kind of colleagues, coworkers, or bosses connected to your past that you probably like are going to reach out to you, be in touch with you, or you with them this week ahead? Venus is retrograde. She's about the past. The past is coming to the now. Mercury is about the news, the conversations, the information. All of that is very active Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in the career and reputation space. And if you're in a public setting doing a speaking engagement or talking or standing in front of the boardroom, then this is something that's connected to the past. And it's coming back for, a looky-loo. And if there were any negotiations from the past that never got off the ground about like a raise, a promotion, or a change in the work, this could be a renegotiation or a reassessment or a relook at those possibilities again as we move into this part of the week. And I am recording, thank God. I'm just going to stop the share for 30 seconds. I shall return. Sorry, guys. I just had a moment. I had to double check something. I thought my mic was off, and I'm like, no. All right. So moving into you guys again. And what am I doing? Am I sharing the right thing? Cancer? Yeah. And so, guys, it looks like pay attention to job opportunities from the past, negotiations from the past resuming regarding career and reputation things, or some opportunities in your career but connected to matters in the past emerging this week ahead, especially Monday to Wednesday. As we move into the next part of the story, of course, as you well are aware, there's a solar reset of the sun with Saturn that hasn't happened since 1994 to 96, then again in February of 2024. But this is so much different because the North Node of Fate is propelling something forward, and it is extremely different in that regard. Your focus here is about a change in your 9th house for the long game. And your 9th house is your longer goals and dreams connected to Dharma. Like, what is it you wish to accomplish that's meaningful in your life? Because it involves academia, guides, mentors, pastors, preachers, it is the house of God. Those areas of your life are on the radar. You might be looking at a new direction when it comes to education, going to campus, going to college, studying with someone, finding a mentor, learning something that's very important for your life's purpose. And because the North Node is there, any learning you do and any teachers you study with and any teachings you become a part of are extraordinarily destined. If you're in the book publishing industry, this is a book publishing house, and there will be an eclipse, of course, coming through on Thursday in the house of writing, your 3rd house. So there are changes regarding publications, publishing, and writing that are destined coming through this week's sky, and of course, lasting with that eclipse at least 6 months. But I think this solar reset button has to be really looked at as like making some solid structural changes to your beliefs, your faith, what makes you, your spiritual philosophy. And because we have that powerful Sabian symbol here about being able to sort of basically use your mind and imagination to manifest, then I would say that this is extremely positive for you, because Saturn says real and Neptune says dreams, make your dreams real, flowing to you. You have Mars in your house, and Mars is looking at this intensity in the ninth house with a disposition of decision making and action taking. So don't be afraid to take actions and make decisions here in the wake of this solar reset button, because the solar reset button is the last one you get until 2054 in this part of your sky. Is it time to go off to university? Time to get that guide or mentor? Is it time to change religion? Is it time to move into alignment with deep purpose in your life? There is a solar reset button in the ninth house, and it can indicate as well a change in your circumstances connected to foreign people, foreign lands, and foreign places. So the arc of travel to those lands is wide open, and some of you Cancers may be locating yourself differently into a new home or new place to live. And that really depends a lot if your floating IC is in the third house, because if your floating IC is in the third house and you're floating midheaven in whole sign houses in your ninth house, and you're going to look like someone who's moving their home, and it may be connected to a move of neighborhood or a move of country. Finally, I do want to say that the ninth house is a very powerful spiritual house. It is a metacosmos house. And so this is going to awaken a deeper spiritual impulse to learn or study and get knowledge and wisdom for spiritual attainment. And you haven't had this before. Saturn can be the sage-like wise one. Neptune could be the transcendent liberation, the awakening. And you have Jupiter, the guru, in the house of its full Monty liberation. Any of you Cancer, Sun, Moon, Rising, looking for spiritual amplitude, experiences, awakening, spontaneous or with a teacher. This looks very, I'm going to join the ashram. I'm going to study Sufism. I'm going to go to India and get down with, I don't know, something in Rishikesh or something. Some of you are really going all the way here. So this is a year ahead forecast, right? It's a solar reset that lasts 1 year. So keep that in mind. And with the eclipse coming up at the end of the week, it's at, Thursday, Friday, but Thursday's eclipse in your third house. As I said, eclipse in the house of neighbors, neighborhood, relationship to a sibling, one younger than you, connections to major changes regarding creative and writing projects, or just neighborhood. Like it's time to change the neighborhood, says that eclipse. It's going to give you 6 months to figure it out. Don't feel rushed. And lastly, that solar reset button in your ninth house does activate the house of the sibling one older, your 11th, with Uranus. And it also activates the house of your long range dreams and goals for your life. So I really want you to say, what is the long range dream and goal that you can break free of the old patterns that have held you back and find something that's deeply true, deeply fresh, and deeply original about what you wish for your very own life? You can find yourself completely reinventing a lot of ways that you perceive your purpose and your goals in life over the course of the 12 months that follows the solar reset button in your ninth house of God. Is it a chocolate break yet? Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign. It is a big energy this week. So much happening. Monday through Wednesday, look to hear from somebody connected to your past, likely with Venus in the ninth house, a former friend from college or university, somebody from a foreign country that you've known from the past, somebody connected to courts or legal matters from your past. Suddenly, or a teacher or guide or mentor or therapist from your past being engaged in your present this Monday through Wednesday. And also with Mercury, there's definitely some conversation, some news, but sometimes Mercury in the ninth house is also paperwork, and this is bureaucracies or human resources. So paperwork from the past connected to opportunities from the past and signing of paperwork could come up here, as well as paperwork connected to enrollment in a university, college acceptance, and such matters, connected, of course, to things you've already engaged in the past. Then we move into the solar reset button in your eighth house. Now, don't forget, I introduced it 94 to 96. You had solar resets in your eighth house of chunky money, but also last February, eighth house of chunky money. What structures and changes did you make with your shared resource with a spouse, with your taxes, with your investments in companies like shareholders, with your money from spousal separations or inheritances? What structural changes were you making? Oh, let's go back 94, 95, 96. If you had any money back then, some of you didn't. But then also, what about money you share with a spouse? What about your investments? What about your insurance monies, payouts for insurances. So this money is being activated in a destined way, never seen before. Yes, you could study the occult mysteries and go deep into those as well. This is the house of occult mysteries, tarot, numerology. But you could also have a major change in your financial status that amplifies your success financially. North Node increases the chunks of money you have to rely on. And so, unfortunately, though, Saturn represents an elder. Sun represents usually a father figure. And there may be the end of a father figure, the death of a father figure, coming off of this conjunction in your sky. Now it's squaring Jupiter in the house of pennies from heaven. So again, we see the potential for some wealth, and Uranus in the house of father figures a bit of a jolt or a surprise or a shock. So I just want to say sometimes these reset buttons can be a little bit discombobulating. Depends on what house they are in. And this is a house of death and the house of inheritances. So I just have to say that for some of you Leos, not everyone, not all of you. This is general bell curve astrology. Now, if you want to make a dream come true, and this is the occult mysteries, cast a spell, do an altar, do some kind of ritual magic in order to make something, a dream, true in the sky. This would be really useful for a breakthrough in your career. If you don't like the career you're in, to make a dream come true, to break through and break free in your career direction. And some of you might also be able to use this energy from a trine to Mars as the solar reset happens to also apply yourself to sort of a work hard, work strong energy to make some financial successes happen, but from things you're doing in your backroom deals, negotiations, or home alone, or maybe for some of you by focusing on distant travels to foreign places. It's a mixed bag for sure. Just because the eighth house sometimes is difficult, but you already lived through this last February. You had a reset button in your eighth house and you're here to tell the tale. It's the North Node that makes it that much more important, that much more intense. And with the eclipse in your second house on Thursday, the eclipse is suggesting a big change in the money story for you, especially the way you make the money you make. Some of you may be quitting a job, changing your career in the course of the 6 months after the total blood moon eclipse. It happens in an earnings house. So it's really good for that. It's also good for letting go of addictions, but it's definitely really good, that blood moon eclipse on Thursday, to see a massive change of your financial structures over the course of the next 6 months after that eclipse. And with the solar reset button in your eighth house, it's almost like some of you are going to rely on money that you're not earning directly. You're going to pull money into the markets, a retirement fund, spousal separation agreements, etc. If you're in the middle of a separation, divorce, which I wouldn't doubt it would be true for some of you, Pluto in the seventh house, then this is going to be how you structure your life around money that you're not making, like spousal support, for example. So that's what I've got for you. I hope that's useful as a Leo, sun, moon, and rising. Let's continue to the next sign. Chocolate break at Libra. The sign of Venus. Pleasure, anybody, I'll take it. All right, if you're a Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign, the idea here is that you have this energy, yay Virgos, of a cosmic reset button connected to divine intelligence in the marriage house. Sure, you had a cosmic reset button here last year. Oh, let me start off with the Venus story. News information around taxes, insurance, money from your inheritances, money from your spouse, news information. This is Venus Mercury retrograde from the past, connected to those themes coming into the forefront. Could just be a tax rebate, for gosh sakes, but it also is connected to the past. So you filed your taxes already and here comes a check, that kind of thing. That's Monday through to Wednesday. Otherwise, information about secrets in your family or in your relationship to your significant other will be revealed to you, especially if it involves untoward sexual secrets or money secrets in your love story with a significant other or from your childhood and family of origin. Those things are going to be revealed Monday through to Wednesday. And then we have the solar reset button on Wednesday. So Wednesday is going to be, unlike any other, massive destined reset button in how you approach your relationship to your business partners, your marketplace and audience, customers and clients, significant public, basically, and your significant other, should you have one, right? If you don't have one, You never know. A new destined partner could come in. Saturn can represent an age difference, younger or older, of 6 to 7 years. Coming in when? In the year that follows the 7th house solar reset button. Now, a solar reset button in the 7th house is going to change the nature of the relationship that you're already in if you're in a committed love story. The North Node means destined change, amplitude, amplification, and intensity of that relationship. Saturn is a taskmaster. He's been testing your relationship since 2023, those of you who have one, and doesn't complete the testing until February of 27, full on. So what do you want to do here? Are you going to renew the relationship this time with this conjunction for one more year? Or are you going to not renew the relationship? Because Saturn also represents the Grim Reaper and destined change. So I'm not knowing which way a lot of you Virgos are going to go, but it could go one way or another. That means that song, was that Blondie? One way or another. I'm going to get you. Something has to change. Change is happening anyway. Amplification, Saturn is structure, getting married. Some of you will tie the knot. Some of you will propose or be proposed to. This is the kind of reset this divine intelligence solar energy can bring you. Understand that the solar chart also, this new beginning, could be for your partner. You may be with a significant other who's going to have a major change in their life. It may be an opportunity in their career that's going to be amplified in the wake of this solar reset button over the course of exactly 1 year. They may be having a very positive and lucky break in their career, and you're witnessing it from across the way in your Virgo reality. The Virgo eclipse is occurring on Thursday, and I have a whole video about that. Please go watch it. This is just a touch point on it. That eclipse is going to open up the energy of you surrendering, releasing, and letting go a part of your identity that's no longer needed. It's not serving you anymore. Certainly, if it's a Virgo moon, you could let go of your home, a Virgo sun, let go of a career path that doesn't suit you. Virgo rising, any part of your life, especially the one you call I am this, I am that. Identity shift on steroids is happens every 18 and a half years here, and it's up for renewal. So this kind of shift of career or a shift of identity or shift of home is amplified by positive surprises from Uranus. Some of you may move to another country. Some of you may change your identity by going back to school. Some of you may radically be reforming your sense of self, connected to matters to do with being in alignment with your purpose. This takes place, this eclipse, over 6 months. Usually the first 3 or 4 months after a lunar eclipse, you see the way forward. Just be careful with your health, but a lunar eclipse could also be about revealing some hidden challenges to your health, some hidden health problems to your body, especially for Virgo risings that you weren't aware of. And the revelation is here. The moon is revealing under the eerie light of a blood moon what the health challenge is so that you can perceive it and heal it. Okay. That's what I've got for you, Virgos. So you get a blood work test and you find out, oh my God, my cholesterol, that kind of thing. And you can reveal and then heal based on this energy. It is Libra. I'll finish Libra, then I'll do the chocolate, then I'll finish the video. As if you guys care if I'm having a chocolate break. All right, so next it is a story for the Libras that you've got this reset button like 94 to 96. And again, last February in your 6th house of work, pets, tenancies, rentals, debts, health. Got it? And because this is a reset button in that very busy house, you're resetting your course over the next year as the divine intelligence sun tells Saturn what to do. Headquarters has got a job for Saturn. Saturn cares about slow and steady wins the race. Nothing happens overnight. And so there's some changes in the work. With Mars in the 10th house, it's a change of work, change of career, or change of job. In the course of the next year, some of you will leave your job, leave your career, retire even. Changes in that area of your life are inevitable. The North Node makes this different than last year. Makes it so different than the 94, 95, 96, because this is destined, fated change. And of course, it can be very, Saturn rules your 4th house of home, property, real estate, a very destined new pet coming into your life, very soulmatey, very destined energy there. Maybe unexpectedly sextiling Uranus in the 8th house, unexpected changes regarding debt structures, loan structures, and maybe exciting ways that you can pay off debts as well in the course of the year that follows. You might also find that rental property opportunities are emerging, whether you want to be the tenant or the landlord, it doesn't matter. You've got that energy of unexpected energies with Uranus flowing to the fourth house of land, home, and property, connected to rental agreements, your sixth house. So some shocking or surprising but positive developments may occur over the course of the 12 months, where rental property is going to take a turn for the good for you, turn for the positive. And I know you're renting a place now. Just say, oh, I already got my place, I've got my lease or whatever. Sure. But we're talking about what happens over the course of a year, right? So we're talking about, this Wednesday out a year. I forgot to mention for you that you have news information from the past coming through Monday to Wednesday in your seventh house of clients, audience, marketplace, business partners, and lovers that are long-term relationship. Some of your old exes coming out of the woodwork with, hey, I got a phone call, email, or text from my first husband, second husband, third wife, whatever. Get ready Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Also, maybe some negotiations of contracts and legal agreements connected to the past that are returning to you now to be readdressed because unfinished business comes back that's contractual or legal. You might also find that this energy Monday to Tuesday can open up a hearing back from a client you haven't seen for ages or heard from, or a business partner as well, somebody you've been business partners with. When I go back to that sixth house, which is happening Wednesday, but out a year, that solar conjunction, if you've had any health challenges that are chronic and you can't seem to shake them, Saturn is there, right? This is a way to have a destined shift around those, like a destined shift, a amplification of, the health solution. Could be what we're seeing here. And if you have health challenges that you caused by your own self-undoing, I would say that, Thursday's lunar eclipse in the house of addictions and self-undoing can help reveal to you what it is you're not necessarily able to consciously face about how your health challenges are your own fault. And that's good news, is that lunar eclipse can amplify your ability to see clearly what it is you need to do or change in order to improve your health. End of story. And Jupiter in the 12th house, and the eclipse in the 12th house, and Jupiter witnessing from the 9th house. Some of you may spend some significant time, maybe connected to career, in another country as a result of this whole story of the week of the sky. But that eclipse says if you're going to do another country and it's destined and it's connected to travel, pilgrimages, teaching, learning, book publishing, whatever, Jupiter in your 9th house, it will be over the 6 months that follow the lunar eclipse of the 13th, 14th, the 14th, that this will be obvious to you, right? That you're going to see this happening. I'm going to keep going. Forget the chocolate. Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising. What kind of from the past information or news regarding jobs and work, or pets, or rentals, or tenancies come to you? An old rental contract reemerges from the past. A pet situation from the past is being presented to you now, especially an opportunity to own a pet that has passed. That sounds crazy, but we're talking about reincarnation of your pets. You may find an opportunity here for some kind of debt repayment, an ability to pay down, pay off an old debt, or the completion of an old debt and the payment thereof, especially if it connects to family of origin as well. You owe a family member. Energy wise, this Venus and Mercury could mean you hear from somebody in the past that you worked with, a colleague, a coworker, somebody in the workspace reaches out to you from the past. And by the way, with Mars moving mid-April to mid-June through your 10th house, this may be the beginning of a new direction where you're going to change your job, change your company, change your career to something different mid-April to mid-June. And this hearing from somebody from your past may start conversations toward that completion of one job or career and the movement towards something else. But maybe because it's connected to the past, it's connected to things you are already familiar with as well, positions, jobs, companies, etc. Now, when we go into the actual energy here of the solar reset of Saturn and the Sun over the next year of your life, it's going to change your life for 1 year. Then you're going to say, I'm changing my relationship to the following things: sex, romance, pleasure, fun, entrepreneurship, pregnancy, fertility, childbearing, child making, all of that. So creative, co-creative, procreative, all of those things are changing. And because with Neptune, Saturn, North Node, they're destined, fated changes. You may have dreams come true. You may meet the romantic partner of a lifetime in a shocking, surprising way. If you're single, you might find yourself making a baby in the year that follows with steadfast, enduring application. A lot of trying becomes a result. Don't give up. Saturn says, try, try, try again. Little train that could. Up the hill. So making babies for sure. But a solar reset with divine instructions about how you want to approach your entrepreneurial life, your creative life, especially your artistic life, and destined change on Neptune for writers, songwriters, storytellers, musicians, artists, actors, glam, Hollywood performers. This is powerful. Any of you Scorpios who resonate with some of those fields of endeavor, this is amazing. A destined amplification of worldly success is possible for you. This is the house of the stage, and you could, with Uranus in the 7th house, go viral or have a major professional breakthrough if you're in the arts like I described. And it takes this reset button 1 year to prove it to you. So don't give up. Be patient. Certainly you're coming into some money with Jupiter here by June 9th. If you haven't already since last May, chunks of money are trying to find you. These could be inheritances. These could be spousal separations. I don't know, but chunks of money are trying to find you that you're not earning, and it's still in play till June the 9th. All right. Finally, there's an eclipse in your 11th house of good spirit. Well, first of all, the 11th house, the eclipse, coming up this week, this is an eclipse that suggests that you might be finding yourself letting go of a way of making money. It's no longer working for you. The way you gain the money from your career, those gains are not as satisfying as you'd like. And you may, in the 6 months that follow, end up changing your job. I told you that already. It shows up in the eclipse. This could also drain out some of your friends. You may be eclipsing your friends. You see them truly. You know who they are. They're not right for you. Social networks and groups of belonging, pulling the plug, letting go, releasing. And with Uranus, some of the shock and surprise in there is also coming from your significant other, if you have one. Oh yeah. So, or destined new long-term love stories are emerging through social groups and networks. There's another way of reading that as well. I kind of feel like when you want to release, surrender, unplug, and let go of the 11th house, it might be the kind of way that you have also been socially engaged with other people that you realize in hindsight, as this eclipse brings light to the situation, isn't really working for you. Maybe you want to spend your time in the artist studio, the creative place. Maybe you want to focus on your creative career, your entrepreneurial career. Some of these people aren't working for you. Some of these social groups maybe are just not your cup of tea, and you're really more than willing to let it go. You're just like, I'm done. I no longer want to go every week to Bible study or curtain or hang out with, people, the buffoons at the bar and get drunk, whatever. Especially in Virgo, you're looking for healthier friends, healthier groups of belonging. You want a real soul tribe. With South Node going through here and a blood moon eclipse, one very powerful friend, ally, or benefactor could come into your life that's destined and fated. And this eclipse is definitely able to illuminate that and fulfill that for you. And a very good new friend may emerge in the 6 months that follows. Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, first of all, I want to start off by the news from the past, blast from the past. It's in the house of lovers, romantic partners, sex partners, children. So children from the past, well, maybe you're out of touch with your children, but also those romantic partners from your past, suddenly phone call, email, Venus is retrograde, Mercury's the news and information. And some of the conversations with those people from your past can really help heal your chironic wound connected to love and romance. So, or sex and all of that, and disappointments there as well. And so there's a very important connection to someone from your past that's really helpful for you, perhaps, some of you. Or again, hearing from a child that you've been out of touch with, an adult child most likely, but even a child if you have separation agreements and stuff. And there's an important conversation with that child coming up Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. And if you had a creative project from the past that you've been taken off the shelf, now maybe that artistic or creative project gets a negotiation, a deal, some kind of new information is coming through to support it. With the energy coming up of a solar reset seen in 94 to 96, and of course in February as well of last year, but now completely different because of the North Node of fate, fated, destined solar reset in your 4th house. And this is your home. This is where you live. This is the midnight hour. This is your property. You're resetting, you're restarting, you're relocating maybe. But North Node means better, bigger, worldly success relocations, foreign places as well, and foreign venues. And you may move to another country. And it's fated and destined, and it's a dream come true, and it's a long game, and you'll be there for a minimum of 7 years. If a move happens under this sky, it's a 7-year relocation for a lot of you, one of the ages of Saturn. You could possibly find fated changes going on regarding family members in your family of origin under the sky as well, particularly father figures. And with Mars in the house of death and inheritance, it's possible that in the next year, an elderly father figure, grandfather, great uncle, I don't know, uncle, even elderly dad could be getting ready to leave the planet. Just want to let you know that, okay? Especially with Jupiter moving into your inheritance house in June. And this is a year-long narrative, so it could encompass the loss of a father figure and the receipt of inheritance monies over the next year for some of you Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising, for whom there is such a thing as an elderly father figure. The solar reset is asking for you, if you're going to move, you're looking for a place that is transcendent and mystical and magical, that inspires you. Okay. That's all that Neptune Pisces energy, destined and fated. But Saturn is also quite often connected to rocky places and mountains. And just as a general principle, to be really practical, it looks like you'd want to be near water or visibly seeing water where you're also above it all, on a cliff, on a hill, in a rocky place as well. Just a possibility to keep in mind. Mountain meets sea kind of vibe. Now, they say you're already in another location, you're already moved. Okay, then you might just have a change of what you're doing in the home, a massive shift of your approach to your home life. Changes in your home squaring Jupiter could mean the end of a relationship, a marriage, and the partner or you move out of the home. And that's why there's a change of the home in the 12 months that follow. And with Uranus in the 6th house, massive, shocking, and sudden changes, but are positive regarding rental property situations as well as pets in the next 12 months. Now, the eclipse is happening, of course, in your 10th house of career and reputation and social standing. One thing about that house, it's a house of weddings, it's a house of visible high noon, and quite often South Node means loss of a visible social standing. Like, I'm married, I'm not married anymore. So this could look like some of you who are in marriages may not be in a marriage by the end of a year, but that eclipse up there that happens, to occur this week will open up a 6-month doorway of letting go, releasing, and surrendering a social standing. Otherwise, a job or a career path is getting ready to be released as well. And so that you're no longer doing the same job, but that's okay, because the Uranus trine to the work house, to the letting go of the career house, means that something much better is coming. And that's the good news about that as well. Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. I would say that this is going to look a lot like a beginning of the week, Monday to Wednesday, where something from the past is coming through the news cycle, email, phone calls, text messages, anyone, or at your doorstep. Especially at your doorstep. Mercury's in the house of the home, the midnight hour, the domicile, your private life. He is direct, but Venus is retrograding next to him. They co-join on Tuesday. Kind of Monday to Wednesday, you could get some kind of information, news to do with like a lawsuit regarding property, division of assets with a spouse regarding property, changes of news about something from a family member, family of origin, mother, father, someone you grew up with, hearing from somebody you knew when you were young, when you were a child in your family of origin, growing up, childhood stories, hearing from somebody from the childhood stories. Hearing from a brother, Mars in the 7th. Oh, how many older than you? 1, 2, 3 brothers, a brother 3 older than you from your childhood. Phone calls, emails, texts, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Maybe also connected to, or just brother, because Mars just rules the word brother. News from a brother. And finally, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, if there's any kind of negotiations or legal contracts that are from the past connected to property, they may be reemerging for you at this time. You may have them back on the table, or a deal that fell apart to do with buying, selling real estate, land, property. Maybe some of that comes back on the table. All right, now moving into the next story. There is a solar reset button like 94, 95, 96, like February of last year. This one is different. This one is a solar reset in the third house of neighbors, neighborhood, traveling, siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, etc. And the sibling one younger in specific. Reset button is a fresh start and a new beginning in your relationship to them and in their lives as well. This is destined and fated because of the North Node, unlike any of the other times I've mentioned. And you're going to make a change. You're going to make a big change here. And it's destined. Now, this at the very basic level, a change of neighborhood. It's time to change your neighborhood. You need to move. You need to move to another state. This is usually, no, this is not usually big, like I'm going to move to Siberia. No, you're going to change your neighborhood. You're going to change your city. You're going to change maybe something like smaller. But there's at least within your own country, there's a change of where your neighborhood is, and of course, where you live. And the solar reset button gives you a destined change that lasts a year. The North Node can very much indicate that it could be a far off distant shore as well, or something to do with almost foreign to where you currently live. But nonetheless, amplitude of the North Node suggests a destined fated change that's coming through the sky. Changes in your travel, changes in your communications, your writing projects, your website, changes in your marketing and selling strategies that are going to have a long tail and a long game and that are fated and destined, with support, of course, from Uranus. And so Uranus is saying, and surprise, some of these changes have to do with entrepreneurial businesses, consulting, to do with your children, to do with romantic love and love stories. Single, you could meet a person through travel and find yourself in a new love story in the next year. Love from the past close to home, returning to you, connecting to Uranus on the reset, definitely looks like a surprising reconnection with a former love and romance relationship for some of you, where you're going to hear from somebody from your past this week ahead. Let me know in the comments if that happens. The eclipse is happening in your ninth house. The eclipse in your ninth house, very important story. You're letting go, releasing, and surrendering under the light of a fulfillment completion moon with blood moon clarity, the following themes over the course of the next 6 months. Letting go of attachments to outcomes when it comes to your spiritual belief and faith, your third marriage, your relationship to law and legal situations, passports and visas, and foreign destinations. Release, let go, and surrender. Also, surrendering and releasing matters to do with higher education and academic environments. If you're in a long-term committed love relationship, Mars has been traveling through your seventh house, September, October, December 6th until now, finished mid-April. It's very tough on long-term relationships, often brings separation, sometimes angst, sometimes combat, sometimes cutting. So a lot of this energy is very intense for you as this whole reset happens. But one thing I like about it is the solar reset with Saturn does flow from Mars in the 7th to the 3rd, indicating that things are not as hard as they could be, that something is actually trying to make it softer or easier in the sky. Finally, opportunities for work are coming through the sky, connected to foreign places, foreign shores, and travel. For those Capricorns looking for work, that's what I've got for you. Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising. Yes, I am indeed one of you. I am rising. You may be a sun and moon. We're all learning how to live with Pluto in our house. I don't know. He's always breathing heavily behind my back, Darth Vader style. Now, going on with this storyline, we end up saying the beginning of the week, you're going to hear information, news, phone calls, or text messages from the third house. Connected to women in the past, from a siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins from the past, maybe hearing from someone from the past that's connected to communicating and writing and online world and websites. And there's a conversation, an email, a text. That's no big deal. Monday to Wednesday. These people from the past, especially sisters, sisterhood, maybe very important conversation with a sister, one younger, coming through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but connected to things you've been discussing with them already. and, sort of reiterating or recommunicating about it. And writing projects from the past can get re-enlivened now, as this is also occurring in the house of writing. And writing, communicating, marketing, and selling in social media and online world. People from the past, communications emerging at this time. With this story of the solar reset button, as it was in 94, 95, 96, and again last February, is Saturn in your second house of earnings. I made the story from another perspective, but I incorporated my life into a business incorporation in the spring last year. In fact, it was right after the solar reset in February. In March, I was in touch with an accountant and we were setting the thing in motion. In fact, I should reach out to him in February. So you're looking at the same thing again, but with an amplification of it, because amplitude, volume up, intensity, fate, and destiny, North Node in the second house of money, earnings, and resources, is really an important story for another stage of every Aquarian changing their financial structures and their earning structures, increasing the money they're going to make or receive or possess. But also, again, North Node is change and it's destined. And the solar reset button says Saturn has a divine destined new direction for you when it comes to your finances, when it comes to how you handle money and your possessions. Now, Uranus in the fourth house could be a sudden opportunity to possess a car or a new home, the shock surprise. That could be playing out in a more short-term level. You never know, but it still is a solar reset that lasts for a year. So there may be some pleasant surprises. Jupiter's in the house of money luck, and you may have some financial luck, may even win some money with a sudden shocking new possession of a home or a car. This is a good reset button for changing your dietary style and habits and patterns, especially in regards to addictions and self-undoing. And well, you had that last year and also 94, 95, 96. This is much more important because it's intensified by the North Node. And so it will increase your likelihood of success. That's for sure. Find out too about, what do you want to do with that Sabian symbol? Bring your dreams come true financially. Use a little, of the sensitivity of the Sabian symbol to manifest. Maybe do a vision board about money and finance, etc. This reset button, which takes a year to unfold, is supported by Mars in the house of his joy in the sixth house, going in direct motion, indicating some of the solar reset button about your finances connects to changes in work and health routines. So both work and health and diet and work and money are indicating a major change of direction. This is different than last year. And this is where Mars is helping out as well. You want to nurture yourself. You want to nurture your health. You want to work in a way that's nurturing, and you want to feel cozy and, self-loving in this sky regarding your work pace as well. Saturn can help you with Mars over the next year. Work hard, but work hard in a self-loving, nurturing way. And what you need to eliminate in the work you do will help you find that. Maybe eliminate the pace, maybe eliminate some of the content of the work you do. Mars rules your reputation. Is it time to pull away from certain things you've done in your career and allow for more ease, grace, and flow? And that's what it looks like to me. In India, your family of origin and family in general, the fam house is your second house. And so major changes in your relationship to your family can happen here as a solar reset button is kicking in. The North Node means destined changes in the way you relate to those people in your family. Now, the eclipse that's happening this week is important. Depends on your time zone. But, Thursday, Friday, we're feeling eclipse energy kicking in. And so you're looking at a vibe of how you might want to let go and surrender and release. The eighth house matters. Now, eighth house can be so many weird things. One of them is to let go, surrender, and release reliance on the money of a spouse, reliance on the money of an inheritance, reliance on the money of investment structures, reliance on the money of shared resources with others. Well, you lean into increasing your own financial wellness through building up your earnings and savings and resources financially. And in this sense, with a Mars cutting through mid-April to mid-June, your seventh house, if you're married, this could be sort of like, is it time to separate your finances out and let go of those monies that are shared so that you are amplifying your own money instead? And I have the eclipse video already out, so please go watch that video. I'll put it in the description box below and in the comments to understand in more deep diving what this blood moon eclipse can offer you. I'd say some of you, though, with Uranus in the 4th, Mars in the 6th, the reset in the 2nd, will have sudden, surprising, unexpected opportunities to procure a new home, whether you purchase it or you rent it, either or. It looks like, a possibility for you in the year that follows. And never last and never least, best and always best, mystic poets of the zodiac, you are Pisces. And in your Pisces reality, you are changing. And this is your solar reset. But before we get to the solar reset of Saturn and the Sun, let us briefly mention there is communication and information regarding money from your past coming into your life this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. What kind of money from your past? I have no idea. Maybe money that's owed you, money that you had resourced and forgotten. Maybe you find some money under your pillow, maybe that kind of money. But there's something about information or news about finances connected to money and the past that is coming into your story Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Even money opportunities from the past reemerging yet again. And with support from Lord Jupiter, very favorable for you as well. Now, as we start off with this solar reset, 94, 95, 1996, also last February, you keep those occasions, you kept trying to reset your reality. You want to reset your Pisces moon, your home, your Pisces sun, your career, your Pisces ascendant, your body, and everything about your character and the life you live, including your focus on career, relationship, and home. So the Pisces ascendant, this is a big, big deal. Saturn says reset realistically. Neptune says, but in alignment with your visions, goals, and dreams, and destined energy, fated energy, says the North Node. Solar reset button is going to indicate a year of major change of identity, major change of who you come into being, either in your career, your home life, or just your whole life. You're having this major shift for your identity. Because the South Node is in the 7th house, you're likely to focus a lot less on your partner in love and business, pull away from the clients that you no longer want, focus less on your marketplace, more on you. It's all about expanding your footprint, expanding your sense of self, and making changes in accordance with this new destined worldly expansion of your identity, for sure. Now, you could find this energy of a solar reset button because you've got some shock and awe alignment from Uranus, that you could be looking at it in alignment with a sudden change of neighborhood or shocking change of relationship to aunts, uncles, cousins, nieces, and nephews, that kind of thing. Siblings as well, but it's favorable to you. And so your identity in relationship to those things is what matters. And certainly given that you have some support from Mars in the 5th house, relationship to your neighborhood connected to your children. Are you simply going to have your children move closer to you? You're going to move closer to your children, one of your children moving out of the home, that kind of thing. I like the idea that Jupiter gets into your 5th house in June, add a year, and that could indicate a great deal of prosperity and luck in your finances as you're expanding your sense of self. However, singletons could expand their sense of identity June of this year, add a year, because they find a profound new love relationship, or because they are pregnant and have a child with their partner or themselves. So these are the big kinds of changes that are happening in your identity, destined changes at that. So single Pisces could in the year ahead find their true love, dream partner, soulmate partner from past lives. If you are looking to make a child or a baby, this is something that could really occur through you or your significant other in the 12-month reset. Saturn is the long game. He's the endurer. He's a persistent one. And so nothing happens overnight, but this change is going to unfold over 12 months. You might also consider that you have a Jupiter 4th house placement as this connection of the reset button occurs. So you're lucky in and from your home, right? Bounteous change in and from your home, and things you do in your home can expand your identity and create greater prosperity. And if it is a Pisces moon, you may have a lucky break that allows for a new home. And because Mars moves into the house of rentals, June and mid-April to mid-June, it's also a lucky break of a new home connected to rentals. A landlord finds the perfect tenant, or the tenant finds the perfect landlord or lease. That's true for Pisces in the next year. And I think a lot of amplification of what I just said would be mid-April to mid-June. And that solar eclipse is going to drain energy out of the marriage house or bring a destined fated partner to you. So either you're going to have a lunar eclipse illuminating a destined relationship that's connected to past lives, or an existing relationship has a bit of a leakage and the plug is kind of pulled a bit there in your 7th house. And that eclipse, of course, will last for up to 6 months. All right, up to 6 months. That's what I got for you. I don't know. I don't want every Pisces to think, oh my God, South Node for 18 months to my marriage house, we're doomed. No, not at all. But it's just there's less intense focus on the relationship as you define yourself in a new way. So the relationship isn't carrying the weight, but yes, your spouse could become ill. So be careful. South Node through the 6th house, your main squeeze partner has health challenges in the next 18 months. So it's good to give them chances, like illumination of a South Node eclipse under the blood moon light coming up here this week, Thursday, Friday kind of vibe, is going to open up a way to see a health challenge that your partner didn't know they had. For example, that's just one way to make that boat float. So the illumination of a health challenge that your partner may be struggling with, if you have a partner, otherwise no, maybe a destined fated relationship in the 6 months that follow that brings in a lot of excitement for you because of Uranus, meeting that person because you're traveling, meeting that person because you're in an educational setting, online dating, or just at the bar in the local neighborhood. Single Pisces are looking for a major destined relationship in the next year, but also in the next 6 months. All right. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. I would love for you to support the channel so that if it grows, I grow, we all grow together. Oh my God. This video is going up Monday. I'm recording on Sunday. I'm so behind schedule. I am so behind schedule. So thanks, guys. I'll see you Thursday. Thursday's video will be Mercury retrograde, and I'll also touch a bit more on that eclipse, especially regarding news cycle stories and that eclipse. So we'll have a little bit more mundane or world astrology Thursday, talking about the eclipse, and we'll also talk about on Thursday Mercury retrograde on the 15th, which I think is a Friday. Whoa. And that's going to be a 3-week story about Mercury heading backwards. Ciao, everybody. See you in the next video.